Greetings, greetings, y'all. So, I'm going to do a video about a topic that I've been sitting on, and I was inspired to go ahead and do it based off of a video that I came across on YouTube. It's a YouTuber that I do like some of her content. I've come across a few of her videos, and I really like her content and the topics that she chooses to talk about. So I came across a YouTube video today by Real Talk with Yanni. And the video is titled "Good Women Are Boring. Man admits to wanting a toxic woman over a good woman." I'm assuming that's the full title. So it's 5 a.m. here. If I don't do this now, I'm gonna put this off. So I had to do it now. But yeah, it inspired this message because this is something I've been sitting on, really. And I'm sure you guys may resonate with this if you guys consider yourself a good woman or a good girl. You've always felt like, you get passed up, you get taken advantage of, you get overlooked. You might even be, what they call reformed bad girl to, or reformed good girl to now a bad girl, whatever, where you don't play that nice shit no more. And I get it. I understand. I can relate. But no. So in this video, she shares a clip of the content, where she got the content from. It was from a man's TikTok. And in the TikTok, he's describing this woman that was damn near perfect, right?
I had a relationship. It was so easy. The girl was just about everything a man can ask for, right? All right. She had good sex. She can cook. She can clean. She had intelligence. She can communicate. She was respectable. She dressed well. She had nice style, intellect, mind, body, soul. Gorgeous girl, great hair. I can go on and on and on, right? But because there was no dysfunction, I decided that it was boring because I was used to trauma. It was so easy, I decided that it was too boring. Peace, love, positive vibes.
Like, well, you had me, we was cool, there was no drama, it was this, it was that. So you're just like, okay, must be something wrong with me, right? Why didn't I get chose, right? That's the thing that some women deal with. You have these dating coaches on YouTube and whatever telling women that you basically gotta be a bitch to get a man or to keep a man, right? And I don't resonate with that. I see what they're saying because to some extent it is true, but it's only true for men that like toxicity, men that have experienced an immense amount of trauma, that may have toxic relationships with their own mothers, where their mothers may have, and I'll speak for myself, I'll share my story with mothers and how you see toxicity around you when they're dating dating patterns and dynamics and things like that. So naturally, men don't really handle their emotions well. They don't really tap into their emotions. The average man is not sitting with their emotions and crying all this, you know what I mean? Women, it's a little more easier for us to do that. I feel like it takes courage for anybody to do self-healing and self-work, man or woman. I would say more so for men because, they have a stigma that it's weak to cry, or it's weak to feel emotion, or you're lame, or you're a simp, or you're corny if you have feelings or emotions, or you show a woman that you care. But they have no problem showing love to women in the club with them dollars and all of that, throwing money at women that are not of that I'm wanting a man. So yeah, they might like chases and all of that. So, and I'm not going to say that this is for every single man out there, because there are men that are emotionally healthy and sound and available that don't look at emotional intimacy as something that is boring or lame, or a settled relationship as something that is boring. But when you're toxic or you're used to trauma, a toxic man or woman is like you're like a kid in a candy store. Like, you like the ups and downs, you like the back and forth, you like the drama, even though you might complain about it. Oh, he did this, he cheated on me, or he talking to this girl, oh, we still ain't got a title, or oh, this heifer, she whatever she doing, she using me for my money, or she's doing this, she's acting up, she acting crazy. Like, yeah, y'all like that. You say you want a good woman, you want a queen, and you want a goddess, and all this little corny stuff that y'all be talking about. Oh, I want a goddess and a queen. But y'all don't know what to do with that, because you like toxicity. You like the peasant behavior. You like the immature. You like the insecurities. You like that type of stuff. Like, because it feeds into your trauma and it feeds into your toxicity. So yeah, and I say this all the time, like when I do my readings, or if I'm just having a conversation with someone that I'm working with or what have you, I always say to make space for people, places, and things that are available to you, that want you, that are open for you. You know what I mean? Rather than continuously making room for what doesn't want you, or what isn't making room for you, or whom isn't making room for you. Not just on a romantic level, that goes for friends, family, whatever. Anyone that does not value your energy, your time, should not be able to have the best of you. And this is something that I'm learning as well, in different ways, or building healthier boundaries with people and getting the clue and the hint, because as women, we have a tendency, and some of us have gotten better with this, or maybe have always been good with, the first sign of a red flag or someone showing you that they don't value you, cut that person off. And yeah, there are exceptions to where, there could be misunderstandings, it could be alignment with timing and things like that, or misalignments, whatever. But when someone continuously is showing you that they don't value you, that should be enough. But I will say this specifically, I'm not trying to count anyone out, but for Black women specifically, we carry a heavy load emotionally, mentally, on all levels, period. So we kind of endure pain, even though it's not fair to do that. We've grown accustomed to this, and that's why so many of us have these mental health issues that we're dealing with, and suicide rates and things like that. It's the pressure of that, and not feeling safe or having a safe space to rest in your femininity, right? It's constant holding it down for everybody, putting up with trauma and pain. And this is generations of that, through bloodlines of that. We carry our trauma through our bloodline, through our DNA, so that stuff is passed down. So, and same with the men, right? Trauma. And in our community, just men in general, but specifically in Black community, it is not something that's often celebrated for a man to embrace their emotions, to embrace their that emotional intimacy. It feels awkward, and it will often be ostracized or criticized or labeled as being corny, lame, a simp, or being homo, no homo, right? It's awkwardness to show love or to have that emotional intimacy, even with their boys. Like, and I'm gonna say this, I'm not trying to come at nobody, I'm just speaking what is coming to me, and if it's not you, it's not you. You don't fall into that category. But I've noticed a lot that men co-sign each other's bullshit rather than correcting one another. It's like, that's why there's so much rampant toxic masculinity, hypersexuality, and things like that. So that's why people will exalt the Futures over the Russell Wilsons, right? And I said this in another video. Women be saying, oh, I want a Russell Wilson. Do you really? Because most of us wouldn't be able to accept a man that, at least from what they show us, you know, publicly, you wouldn't be able to embrace or accept or rest in a relationship with somebody that is emotionally available, someone that is a family man. Because if you're used to, you know, maybe your father was not in the home, or they didn't, maybe they provided for you financially, but they were not there to provide that emotional stability, that that protection, that you know you can trust and rest in that, and know what a true masculine is, what that love should feel like, how a man should treat you by how your father is treating you, and how he's treating your mother, how he treats women, period. If you're not being validated as a child, healthily being validated, you're going to seek that out in some type of way. And that trauma is going to carry into relationships, and you're going to attract partners that are like your father, whether you realize it or not. Just as men will attract women that are like their mother, especially if you have mothers that lack empathy or lack compassion and nurturing skills, and they're, you know, heavily in their masculinity and survival mode constantly. And this isn't to shame the mothers, because I already went into that, the trauma and all of that, and perpetuated cycles and generational trauma and patterns and addictions and so on and so forth. So naturally, man's going to gravitate to women that are emotionally unavailable, that are emotionally unstable, right? And they know it's toxic, but it's something that keeps them hooked. Just like as a woman will say, oh, I can fix him, I know he ain't no good, or I can see he's not, but I'll put up with it. Hopefully he'll become the Prince Charming, that the Russell Wilson turned Future, or Future turned Russell Wilson, and that's not going to happen, most likely not. You know what I mean? And then the men, I'm gonna take this woman that doesn't really value herself nor her body. She's doing this, she's doing that, she has no sense of self, she lacks self-awareness, she's not connected with herself spiritually, she just out here doing whatever, right? Oh, I'm a bad bitch, and all I gotta do is look cute, right? I aspire to be like Ari Fletcher and Jada Waiter, like those types of women, and you want to turn her into a housewife and expect her to be there for you spiritually and emotionally and mentally. She doesn't have the capacity to do that. She doesn't have the capacity to do that for herself. Then you get mad and you're talking about, oh, women, they doing this, they doing that, and oh, they all gold diggers, and oh, they're toxic, and they don't know how to, like, because that's what you're pouring your energy into. That's what you want. So yeah, no. And I'll say this too, women, stop playing wifey to undeserving men or women, whatever you're into, but specifically I'm gonna say men or anyone, like just anyone, let's just say anyone, right? And furthermore, playing wifey as a girlfriend or a side chick, or situationship, is dangerous to your time. It's dangerous to your time. Being wifey material isn't enough to keep a man to respect you. Like, and I liked how in the video, the YouTube video that I was that I had shared or mentioned, that she was saying you can do all this work, you can get all these self-help, you take all these courses, you can go to the gym, you can eat better, you can be more feminine, dress differently, do all this stuff to your hair or whatever you doing, and you know, something to show that you're this good woman, right? That don't mean nothing to some men. And I say the reason why it doesn't mean anything is because, again, I mean, I'm not going to say it doesn't mean anything, but to the right person it will. To the wrong person, it's not enough to respect you, right? You have to allow him or her, whoever you have. I'm talking specifically about men because I need to be straight up about it. Allow him to show you that he even values you enough for you to even make that decision on whether or not to invest in him. You know what I mean? Being a wife is something, I feel like it isn't something you can necessarily train a young girl or child, a young girl, period, girl, to become. And I say this because I find wifey material is more so within a woman's character, how she chooses to walk her path in life, not by standards of what makes a man see value in you and choose you by doing, X, Y, and Z. Men wife women who don't cook or clean and more. So that isn't something that you should place as a standard of, oh, your looks, I can cook, I can clean, I'm good in bed. All these little basic things that most women can do. And men will marry women that aren't good cooks. Like, if you love a woman because of who she is, her character, her essence, who she is, that's all it is. It has nothing to do with all this external stuff, trying to like, oh, I'm gonna do this, and those things can be pluses, yeah, but it's different when you value yourself, right? So, for example, a woman isn't necessarily a mother just because she gives birth to a child. Some of us weren't even shown good examples on how to be good mothers through our own mothers or fathers, right? So because of our lack, let's say because of our lack of receiving nurturing and compassion, we don't know how to be mothers, right? We got to go through the process of being a mother on our own, especially if we didn't have an example to do that. Just as a young girl can't be taught how to be a wife if she lacks the examples of a healthy love dynamic around her, to show her what is a healthy dynamic and how to choose valuable mates beyond their status and looks and all of that, right? And being thirsty for a man and looking at man as the prize. We've been taught ass backwards. A woman's value is not validated by a man or human, period, but the God within her. So therefore, anyone who gets to experience her essence, they have to prove themselves to be worthy of that. Because like I said, there's many women who can cook and clean, who are beautiful, educated, stylish, fun, loyal, etc., all that stuff, right? But does she know who she is beyond those things? Does she truly know her value? Like, us women, we have it backwards. Because we seek to be validated by men or lovers, whatever, through how much we give and how much we can take from a man. And when I say take from a man, like put up with. Through time and patience, long suffering, right? Or how we're better than other women or the other woman. To the point where we'll even forfeit our friendships and our family all for a man. Like, women will backstab and compete with other women, even their own quote unquote friends, sisters and cousins, to prove to themselves they are worthy or better because of whom? A man. Child, a man, right? Half of them ain't even men, they're just males. Just males, not even men. Males. Rather than becoming that better woman for the self and then everyone else second, those who value her anyway. Yeah, but I had to grow through this, and I'm still healing from this very stuff, this very thing. Like, I've been through the feeling like being picked last and feeling like, oh, whatever the case may be, or just not picked, or being told that you're too much or you're not enough, or as I've gotten older, things like, oh, I didn't think that I was good enough for you, or I wasn't ready, and all this stuff. Like, okay, I guess I can say that was protection, whatever. But then you see what they're really after, what they really into, who they seeing, who they dating, who they're choosing to spend their time with, then that's very triggering. But then again, it all shows the trauma. You can't be in a healthy dynamic when you got trauma, because it's gonna feel like, unless you're really willing and you have courage enough to say, I'm going to give this a shot and it's going to encourage me to do better and heal myself, that's different. But that's a choice that you have to make on your own, or you can decide that's not what I want. This is not who I want to invest in. That's fine too. But I feel like it takes courage for someone to say, I know that I'm wounded. I know that I have some trauma that makes it very hard for me to embrace a healthy connection. And I felt this even with friendships. There was a part of me that didn't feel worthy of healthy friendships and always looking over my shoulder because of the trauma I experienced in my friendships in the past. Few years ago, I was dating someone for like 2 months. We dated, we talked, and it was something. It was a learning experience looking back. And at that time, I was still traumatized by my relationship that I had with my daughter's father. That was the only person I've ever really been in a relationship with, if you want to call it that. I remember him telling me, like, because I kept testing him to see if he was different, and I was doing the subconscious, like getting jealous over likes and posts and stuff like that, and just wondering whether I was going to be replaced. I would always sit and wonder, like, okay, they going to eventually cheat or go off with somebody else or something like that, or go after something that's not what I'm like, something completely opposite of me or my type, something else, something toxic, the quote unquote bad bitches, the aesthetic of, like I said, the Ari Fletchers, those types, those type of the IG model types, or the real, I ain't gonna go too much into that. But anyway, I would wait for that to happen. And he got fed up with the tests that I was putting him through subconsciously, and he called me out for it. And I wasn't ready to receive somebody that was transparent, that was open to me, even though there were things that were flawed on both ends, on my side and his end. It showed me that I was not emotionally available nor ready for someone that was emotionally available or seemingly emotionally available at that time. And another thing too, that I share my absent journey, and it's not to like this holier than thou thing. It's not a stance on that. Women can do what they want with their bodies. I feel like, me personally, more so my choice to be abstinent, it is discipline, y'all, for real. Like, it's been years, okay? I don't want it to hit the 10-year mark. I ain't trying to be a decade over here with spider webs. I'm just saying. But it's more so just, it was a covenant between me and God that I had made, that I would never share my body nor my essence with another man who wasn't fit for me nor deserved to experience me on that level of intimacy. So also, for me to avoid forming any more soul ties with people and carrying other energies, etc., getting caught up in messy, like, entanglements just for a moment in time of pleasure. Like, it's not worth it for me. And I've done so much clearing in that sense and on that level, that I'm not willing to forfeit. There's times, like, I'm gonna say this, there's times that it will get testy, because there's times that if I wanted to, like, I would be thinking about it, pondering it or whatever, and that shit gets blocked because I know better, essentially. I know what my stance is, my promise that I've made, and I can channel and transmute that energy into other valuable things like my creativity, etc. So it's not worth it. And like I said, again, it goes to your value, like knowing your worth. And I know that that part of me is very valuable because I'm allowing you to enter my space. my wound, my portal, and not every man deserves to be in that space. Not at all. Not even like sniff it. Not at all. So, yeah, I was used to dysfunctional relationships growing up. So, seeing my mother with several different boyfriends throughout the years, like it's different rotations of men, right? And never seeing a healthy love exchange between my parents when they were married. I've only seen them live together for a short time, and it wasn't really a functional living situation. So, them being married, I never got to experience my parents actually being in a union. Like, they've separated for a time and doing their own thing. So it was almost like they were never really married, even though they actually were legally married. I didn't know my value truly because I wasn't validated in a healthy way as a child. Like, I never received those healthy validations. Like, my parents more so showed up in a matter of keeping a roof over my head, and I'm grateful for those things, or buying me things and me and my brother's stuff. But it was never a time where I felt help, like validated, you know, as a child in a healthy way. So even like my mother, she had the talk, you know what the talk is. She didn't give me the talk until well after I lost my virginity, and I had to tell her like it's too late. Like, that was my way of telling my mother, like, because it was that I had no guidance. I had no one to tell me, Chinoa, that's valuable, or be mindful of who you share yourself with, and look out for these types of boys, or, nothing about dating. I had no guidance at all. So that person that I lost my virginity to, that was my first experience with abuse. He was an abuser in every sense of the way. And my first experience with breadcrumbing and all that abusive stuff, and being cheated on and being replaced by this one and going back and forth, it was a toxic experience for a young girl to have, a young teenage girl to go through that. And that connection really set the tone for more dysfunction in my relationships. So I played house for years with my daughter's father, because I desired to have that family dynamic I never had. So it was extremely toxic on both sides. I was trying to play wifey when I had like absolutely no in-depth understanding of what the significance, that mantle of being a wife truly meant, and just how sacred marriage really is. I have no true understanding of that. Like, I knew, surface level, that it's a relationship, it's a commitment, it's a covenant, it's a devotion, but not on a deep level. I had no understanding of what that really meant, and what that responsibility also that comes with marriage. So I was I was a 20-year-old mom. I had my daughter when I was 20 years old. And just a year prior to that, I was partying. I was juggling multiple ninjas, thinking I was cute, trying to play bad bitch, and I didn't even know myself at that time. I was seeking validation and attention, and going out and just doing whatever. Like I said, I had no guidance. And I don't really regret those things because I wouldn't be here, right? But one thing I will say is when I'm called to leave something or someone behind, I do. And I never look back. It might take me a couple of times to get the hint, but when God really urges me to do something, it's a wrap. And I had to leave that relationship. I just had to. It was years and years of just toxicity. I was my worst self in that relationship. It was just too much. So fast forward, still after that time, like, I might have talked to some people, I might have had some interests, some crushes, some, whatever, right? And I still found myself falling into that trap of seeking validation and allowing a person to dictate my worth based off of how they treated me, rather than looking at the way that they treated me as a reflection of themselves, and also as a red flag and a sign for me to let go and turn away, and also to want more for myself, and also call me back to healing, which it's a process. I'm thankful for each and every experience that I've had, because if I didn't have them, I wouldn't be able to seek out what is my worth. And I'll be honest with you guys, like, the way to finding and uncovering my worth, and to really cherish parts of myself, even the parts of myself that I don't like, because that's a process within itself as well. It's something, right? That seeking comes from God, knowing my worth, and not attaching, not even just validating myself through man or men or boys, males, right? But through what everyone else thinks about me as well, my family, my friends, my clients or viewers, whoever, right? And validating my worth based off of my gifts and what I can do here and there, and not saying that those things aren't an extension of my value and worth, but it's not the sole purpose, because let's say there would be a time where I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing anymore. Would I feel like I'm worthless? And there's times where I have felt that, like, okay, this isn't taking off the way that I thought it was going to take off, or this isn't working out, or it looks like it's failing, so I guess I ain't shit, right? It's you have those moments, and I can be completely transparent about this, because it might be things that people want to say, but they're not going to say because they don't want to look a certain way or for people to judge them. But this is therapeutic for me, and not only that, I know that this could be healing to someone else. So I'm going to say it. You know what I mean? Healing within itself is a journey. Anyone that takes on the courage to say, I'm going to face my traumas, I'm going to face my fears, my insecurities, that takes big balls and titties to do that. I'm just saying. And I want to encourage people to, because I guess this is one of my callings, is to help people with love and relationships, because these are some of the things that I've had to grow through and still am. I've done the most cringiest things for love, like, or what I thought was love, or for people that I've had feelings for or attraction towards enough to feel. And again, I have to say this, I don't really regret it. Like, I might cringe and be a little embarrassed by some of the things that I've done or said, but I don't regret it, because it's part of my growth process. At the time, it may have been like, oh my God, why did I say that? And even sometimes I still be like, oh my God, bitch, did you really just... But I have to acknowledge the part of me, and embrace the part of me, and celebrate the part of me that musters up the courage enough to say the things in my heart that other people might wish they could say to somebody or to the world, whatever, and just not ever say it. Because I rather, and I always tell myself this, and I've had other people encourage me on and remind me, we're not doing things to gain. We're not doing this for other people. Like me expressing myself, me going after what I feel like I'm guided to, or to do what I'm guided to do, or say what I'm guided to say. It's not so much for the reward or seeking the validation afterwards or to get a reaction, but truly it's for myself. I'm freeing myself. I'm validating my own feelings and emotions, even if someone else doesn't validate them, nor reciprocate them, nor understand them. You know what I mean? And that's vulnerability. Vulnerability is courage. People be saying, oh, you weak, because that's a lie. Like, it's weak. It's a weak game to say, I'm not going to feel anything. I'm not going to be transparent. I'm not going to share my foot. That's weak. That's fear. It takes, like I said, it takes big courage for somebody to be transparent, to be vulnerable, to be blurted out. There's things that I wish that I could just say to people. Like, there'll be times where I'll think of random people that I know, And if I feel like they need some type of love, I'll withhold that because I'm like, oh, they're going to think I'm crazy. Because people think that unconditional love is weird. I can have unconditional love for a complete stranger. How? I don't know. I can see a stranger and feel love and compassion for them in that very moment. And just have love, period, for people. That's just how I am. But that fear of being judged, that fear of rejection settles in, and I won't act on certain things. It might be a friend that I'm like, oh, I'm thinking about her. I'll just tell her. And sometimes even like, I don't like calling them clients, but like there'll be times where I'll think of one of them. They'll cross my mind. Sometimes they'll come around after I thought about them, which is for a reason. But there will be times where I'm like, I wonder how this person is doing. I wonder how she's feeling. And I'll think about sending them a message or something, and I won't do it. So that is another part of the vulnerability that I have to work on. But there's things that I have done that I'm just like, you know, it's cringy. Why you do that? Why you say that? But you have to. Like, it is a part of the journey, it's a part of the lessons and the wisdom and the experience. That's a part of living. It's just life. Like, some people are comfortable living their life unapologetically in certain ways, but in other ways they're like, no, I can't do that. So shout out to anyone that is courageous in any area of their life that can say, I'm gonna just do this, or I'm gonna say that, or I'm gonna write this, or I'm gonna wear this, or I'm gonna date this person, I'm gonna whatever, right? Like, it's just too much like limiting. And I speak for women and young women, you know, that will come, because hopefully one day, like my daughter, she'll be able to sit and listen, like if she can get past the cussing. Like I cuss a little bit, but like be able to revert back to these things. And like learning to be a mother that I never had is a challenge within itself. And it motivates me to do better and be better, because I don't want my daughter to have to go through the same things that I have, which is why, my mother, she did the best that she could, still is. My father does the best that he could. Like, that's my ninja right there. My dad is my ninja. But I don't allow my daughter to see certain things. I don't, I've never brought men in and out and around in my place around her and stuff like that. She might have heard about somebody that I was interested in, probably not enough to even know nothing, you know what I mean? But she's never had to experience that, and I don't want her to. I don't want to bring anybody around my daughter that I'm not, trust that I don't trust, basically. But these messages that I do is not to tear anybody down. I'm just here to be a messenger, and sometimes it's a little, maybe too much for some people, and I could be all over the place. I'm not the best spokesperson for healing and stuff like that. I can only do what I'm capable of, but I want women to be happy. And if that be that you want to be single, so be it. Because you truly want to be single, not because you don't believe that you're worthy. Because there's times where I'm just like, F this. Like, this shit ain't never gonna happen, because, like, look at what hand I've been dealt. And it's not enough to just give up on the self. So if you aspire to have a healthy relationship, it is definitely possible. The path to that may be a little bit more challenging, and I've said this in another message before. It's a little more challenging than just taking what's available and what just, what desires you. There's a difference between what desires you and what wants you, but there's a difference between what you need and what they need, and what is healthy for you, what is your highest good, who has the capacity to really love you, and you have the capacity to love them. Love is a journey within itself. Couples don't just get together and it's just all bliss and happiness all the time. Like, romance is something that is fleeting. That's why I be like, my person, they gotta be my friends. Like, they gotta be one of my best friends, because passion and romance is kind of something that can, flee from time to time. It's not always gonna be prevalent in the relationship. You might be able to keep it up from time to time, but you gotta be realistic. Like, it's not always about romance. It's not always going to be a factor in the relationship at some point, and sometimes you have to be able to get through tougher issues and things beyond romance and passion and sex, right? So love is your journey. You can heal even through being in your relationship. So it's not to say that you have to be perfect. You have to be willing to do the work. Both parties have to be willing to do that. Anybody that sits up here and just is like, whatever, you don't have to heal when you get in a relationship, it should be this, it should be that, or no, that's not true. That's why people fail, because they are not willing to take on the journey truly. That lie, that romance and that stuff, like, that's beautiful, that's a part of it, but there's other levels of intimacy that have to be built. So finding that it might be a bit of a process. It might be a bit of a journey. You might have to, weigh your options out and, go through what you feel like is worth putting your energy into and who is not for you, and keep it pushing. It might be like that sometimes, unless you take the journey of saying, I'm going to focus on myself, and if the time comes where I feel led to get back out there, or if someone, sparks my interest, or someone, approaches me that might spark my interest, I'll get to know them and give it a shot, by all means. However your love journey is, the path to the person that is healthy and for you, it might be a little bit of sorting through some rotten apples, I'm just saying. And maybe not. But it really is definitely a choice, but you have to be willing to sort out what's for you. Like I said, and worth and value is a big thing. Like, we must understand our worth and our value. Not everybody deserves our energy, not even our intellectual property. There's times where it's like, I see so many women like pouring into all these men, and maybe they needed it at the time, right? But this is kind of just like, I guess, where this pick-me behavior, as they call it, comes in, where we have the tendency to be like, oh, I'm going to do this for him, and I'm going to prove to him, and I'm going to show him this, I'm going to show him that. And you see later on that these men just moved on and just went back to the same shit. And it's just like, sis, like, what was you doing? I mean, some of them be telling you straight up, like, hey, like, this ain't that. But because we want what we want at times, and we want to stick it out and ride or die, like, loyalty should not come with suffering. Just saying. It's not loyalty. It is not. Yeah. But love is beautiful, and it should be something that is enduring, devoted, joy-filled. It's something that I feel like is underrated, and sometimes overrated in a bad sense. Like, some people overrate what love is in this Disneyland, and then when they find out that it does come with some strife, it does come with, like, y'all gotta be a team truly, then it falls away, because we're looking at the superficial. And being a good cook and a good chef, right, or a good maid to a person, or busting out kids and busting it wide open from time to time, is not enough to keep a man. Like, when are we gonna get that? It's not enough. And beauty definitely is not enough, because beauty comes a dime a dozen. Like, one day, like, oh, she bad, and then the next minute, like, if you're superficial, or the man is superficial, and those things fade, he's out to the next thing smoking, and he gonna be looking at something younger, something whatever else. Like, if that's all that it is that you have in your relationship, which I see most in this generation, like I said, these people aspire to be like Ari Fletcher and Moneybag. They think that stuff is cute. Like, it's really not. Like, because y'all seeing the bags, and y'all seeing the cars and the mansions and the trips and the likes, and it looks cute, but the toxicity is blatant. Like, you can see it right in front of you. You see the back and forth. You see the sub. If they were truly happy, there would be no need for subtweeting and trying to come at side chicks on the low. Like, that stuff is not cute. Like, that's toxic love. And unfortunately, like I said, and I'll be surprised, because I'll be like, okay, girls that are like maybe in their late teens, early 20s might like stuff like that, but no, it'd be like women my age thinking that stuff is cute, because they're glamorized, they're blind to the glitz and the glam, and it's not. I'm not here to judge, but I'm just showing you the contrast of what we're dealing with. Like, the energy, it's not cute. It's not. Everybody knows what your relationship is like, what y'all going through, and like the arguments, the back and the forth, and deleting pictures and then putting it back. Like, it's just like, that stuff is so freaking toxic. And people that ain't even famous are in that same karmic loop in relationships. And I just, like I said, it comes down to trauma. It really does. Because a person that values and loves themselves and knows their worth would not put up with shit like that. They're just not going to. It's not the way. Like, it's not. That is nothing to aspire to have or to be in at all. Like, unless all you care about is money bags and shoes and likes and fronting on the gram like all is good, and you can say, well, at least I got money. Like, that's every celebrity. If anybody says anything that they don't like, oh, you just jealous because they got money. Like, people are so brain dead. Like, I can't with humans. Like, sometimes earth is ghetto. Literally, it's ghetto. And I just sometimes, like, some parts of ghetto, but I just want to just leave sometimes. They're like, people just like, oh my God. Like, but no, you can't do that. But yeah, no. So leave the ride or die, freaking whatever template alone, whatever you want to call it. I just came across this post not that long ago, and she put, the ride or die girl is just a concept created by men to test how far they can manipulate you into staying with them while they violate your boundaries and shred of dignity you have. And shred any dignity. I mean, come on, like, for real. This false loyalty of sticking it out, and that was me. I've done some stuff for, I can't say what I've done, but I've done things that I'm like, I look back and I'm like, what was you even thinking? Like, you could have gotten into so much shit behind this. You looking real stupid right now. This person would not do the same for you. And it's really a test. I believe it is. Like, it's a test to see how far is this person willing to go with me? How much are they willing to sacrifice of themselves for me? And it's like, if we're not careful, we can make lovers our gods. We can really pedestalize, put these men or women, whatever you're into, on this pedestal. But unfortunately, women, when it comes to men, it's like women lose their whole sense of self and character over men. And I've seen it so many times. Whether it was my own mother, and I have to be honest, so-called friends, family member, over men. I've had falling outs over men. And it wasn't no falling out of like, oh, you slept with my man type of thing. It's more so of choosing side of a no good dude over somebody that's there, or like to flex and compete and like, oh, see what I got, and then later on look fucking stupid because this dude already knows like what you're willing to do for them and how disloyal you actually are, and they play on that. Some say men are dumb, and yeah, they can be. I'm not trying to be mean to y'all. Like, y'all can be a little bit slow sometimes, but y'all very strategic. You pay attention, and women, we can be a little foolish, shanty foolish, literally, like that song, like literally. That's a anthem right there. That is what a lot of women deal with, all for the sake of having a man in their bed, or saying they have a man, or at least somebody wants me or loves me, or I'm getting some deed. Like, all that for that, honey? Like, really? No. No. Mm-mm. And I also feel like it's a little bit of, do we really believe that we can have the type of partnership that we desire in a healthy sense, like someone that really does love you unconditionally? There's nothing superficial about someone loving you unconditionally and you loving them like, you deserve to be loved just as much as you give love. Why does it have to be one-sided? That's not fair to either or. It's really not. And I feel like, it's, and I said this to myself, I'd be like, I don't know, I can't imagine who could be for me. I just can't. Like, he's gotta be a unicorn, alien, treasure troll ass, fucking Apollo ass something. I don't know. Something that I don't know. Because it's just like, well, dang, like, it's kind of like a helpless case sometimes. You're like, damn. And not to vent, because it's like, I don't regret anything really that I've been through. I don't. Or anybody that I've ever cared for, loved, or extended energy to. I don't regret that. It's just kind of hard to see, because you're used to shit. You're used to being treated like shit, or you're used to feeling like, okay, something must be wrong, because why is this still a thing? But I've come to realize that what I'm asking for, it's not too much, and it's not too little. It's just exactly what is. And sometimes I don't fully even know what I need in love. Like, I know what I want, and in some cases I do know what I need, but there's things that we can't even fathom that we deserve and need. Sometimes we don't even know it until we have it. So that's why I'm just like, okay, when it's divinely meant in time for me to have what or who is for me, like, it's going to be something that is divine and profound, and it's going to separate itself from all the others, and it's not something that can be duplicated. It's not something that can be staged or acted out and manipulated. It's going to be something that is profound. And I've dealt with counterfeit situations before, where it's like, it's so close to being that, and then something will happen. There's a specific thing that is an occurrence and always happens that lets me know, okay, this is not my person. And that wisdom came to me like clear as day, that's one of the things that will let me know that I've met my person. And I'm not going to say what it is, but yeah, it's something that's going to separate and make it very clear and plain, and let it be known why may have not worked in the past with other people, why things did not happen or why they could not happen. It's a reason for that. And I wholeheartedly believe that for you guys as well, that you will know what's for you, because it's going to separate something about it. And this is me getting prophetic real quick, okay? I'm going to just give y'all a little prophetic message real quick. That what's going to separate it is going to be different from all the rest, all the others that you've ever dated, been with, into whatever, right? Have feelings for, experience in any type of way. It's going to separate itself. It's something about the energy, the connection, the exchange, the person that will separate. You'll know. You'll know. Because, like, yeah, everyone's unique and different in their own way. You might have dated people that look different, have, come from different walks of life. But there's always that one thing that maybe it never surpasses. It never works. It's like something that's almost like the people just have to part, even though they may have wanted to be with you, liked you, cared about you. But there's something to where it's not them. And I've noticed this with a few people, like something specific that lets me know, like, okay, it's not them, because my person, this is something that, you know what I mean? Like, it's not an issue. It's not a problem. It's, you know what I mean? So whoever your person is, same thing, like, and I'm not here to say you've met them or you haven't met them yet. Like, I'm just going to leave that for you. But, because I don't even know. I don't know if I have or if I haven't. But I will say that, like, something that comes together, it's going to be God. It's going to be divine. It's not going to be something that I'm forcing to happen. It's not going to be something the other person is forcing to happen. It's like there's no other explanation but to say this has got to be God. Like, there's no other way. And yeah. We shall see. And like I said, for you guys, your person they will be an exception in a sense. Like, they are not going to be like anybody else that you've ever been with, wanted, dated, whoever. It's something about their energy that's different. And this is not physical things. It's not, oh, they look like this. And I'm not sensing that. What I'm sensing is it's an energy. It's something with the way that you two connect, the way that you relate. How they relate to you, how they embrace you, how you embrace them. It is a mutual exchange as well. It's not a one-sided thing whatsoever. Yeah. So may God bless you if you like stuck it out this long with this long ass video. Like, good for you. You get a gold star. Like, proud of you. I'm proud of myself for doing this, like, because I was about to hold off on it, but divine timing is everything. It definitely is everything. So yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that, because this was a long message. How long was I? Oh damn, this is an hour. Dang, I was on here for an hour. I don't know how I'm going to edit this one, because this is a long video. Much love as always, y'all. Be blessed, be safe. Take care.